I worked the night shift at a small roadside cafe just off a motorway. It's not much, just a dingy little place with flickering lights and the smell of burnt coffee permanently in the air. But it pays my bills. Most of my customers are truckers, tired and grumpy, stopping in for a quick bite before hitting the road again. Some are regulars, and over time, I've learned their names and small details about their lives. Others pass through only once in a while, their faces forgotten by the next morning. But then there was him. At first, I didn't even notice him. He was just on my usuals, just another tired face among the crowd. But as time went on, I realized something strange. He was always there. He never spoke much, never caused any trouble, but he was always sitting in the same corner booth, just watching. His name was Mark, or at least that's what I overheard one of the other truckers call him once. He was older, maybe mid-40s, with a rough, unshaven face and piercing blue eyes that always seemed to linger just a second too long, you know. I tried to brush it off, the strange feeling that he gave me. I'd dealt with my fair share of creepy guys before. Being a woman working late nights at a cafe, it came with the territory. But Mark was different. It started off small. A tip left on the counter with a note scribbled on the napkin. "You have a beautiful smile, or see you next time," he would write. I decided that it would be best not to interact with him, as this behavior was a bit creepy, as I did not know him at all. Then it escalated. One night, I was cleaning up after closing when I found a small gift box left on the table where he always sat. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet. No note, no explanation, just a bracelet. I told myself it wasn't a big deal, but deep down, I felt this chilling shudder crawling up my spine. I didn't know what scared me more, the gift itself, or the fact that he must have waited until I wasn't looking to leave it, and then left himself. Why not wait and speak to me? Still, I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was just a lonely older guy, harmless. Then one night he spoke to me. It was late, just after 2 a.m., and the cafe was almost empty. He was sitting in his usual spot, nursing a cup of black coffee, when I passed by this table. "You work too hard, Kim," he said, his voice low and hoarse. I froze on the spot, trying to maintain professionalism. I forced a smile, keeping things formal. "It's part of the job," I said, with a slight wobble in my voice. He tilted his head, those blue eyes drilling into me, trying to read my soul. "I like watching you work. You look so peaceful," he muttered. I thought to myself, this is not right. Something about the way he said this sent ice shooting through my veins. I tried to remain as positive as I could and gestured that I have to get back to work, smiled, and hurried to the back of the cafe. I was literally in such a mess. I called my friend. She didn't answer, so I texted her, just to make it known that something wasn't right here tonight. That was the night I started to feel truly unsafe. I told my boss about him, about Mark, but he was just like, "We'll make a note of it, but there's not a lot I can do at this time, as he's not actually done anything to harm you." Then he said, "Truckers get lonely, darling. It's nothing to worry about." But I was worried, and I thought my boss had a legal duty to look out for his staff. After that night with Mark, things just got worse. One night, I left my shift just after 3 a.m. My car was parked in the back lot, where it was always kept. I hated parking there because it was so dark and eerily quiet. As I approached my car, I had the distinct feeling of being watched. My spidey senses were triggered almost instantly. I turned, scanning the darkness, but saw nothing. Shaking off my paranoia, I unlocked my car. Just as I opened the door, a voice came from the shadows. "I can drive you home, Kim." I jumped, spinning around. Mark was standing just a few feet away, leaning against the wall of the cafe. I hadn't even heard him walk round, gripping my keys tighter in my hand. "I'm fine, thanks. I have my car," I said in my shaky voice. He took a step closer. "I don't mind," he said. "It's not safe for a pretty girl like you to be out here all alone." His eyes wide and wild, desperate. My heart was pounding. I forced a smile. "Really, I'm good." I got into my car and locked the doors before speeding away. My hands were shaking, my body quivering, the whole drive home. After that incident, I started to see his truck everywhere. I was sitting at the window in my apartment one day, and I saw him driving past, idling down the road, even sitting at the edge of the cafe parking lot, engine running, but never coming inside now. My boss, friends, family, and police were all informed of his odd behavior at this point. This really affected my sleep. Never sleeping properly. Every creak in my apartment made me jump. Every shadow felt like him. And then, the night it all ended. I had just finished my shift and headed to my car when I saw him standing on the driver's side of my car. "I've been waiting for you," he said, with a creepy grin. My stomach dropped. "I know how you feel about me, Kim," he continued, stepping closer. "You don't have to be shy. I see the way you look at me and smile." I backed away, my breath coming in short, sharp gasps. I felt so vulnerable. "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hardly know you." He chuckled, shaking his head. "Don't play games with me." My whole body went cold. He reached for me. "It's okay. You don't have to pretend anymore." "I'm here now," he spluttered. I turned to run, but he grabbed my wrist, yanking me close. His breath was hot against my skin, his breath smelling of an ashtray. "I've been so patient, Kim. So patient." I struggled, panic clawing at my throat. "Let me go. Let me go now, and I won't tell anyone." "You don't mean that," he whispered, with his dirty cigarette breath pressing himself against me. "I know you want this. I know you have wanted me ever since I first started coming to the cafe. You need me," he said. As he was covering my mouth, the only thing that I could do was bring my knee up as fast as I could and slam it in between his legs. He let out a choked gasp, dropping slightly to the floor, loosening his grip just enough for me to break free. I ran, not stopping until I got back into the cafe, screaming for my life and for help. By the time the police arrived, he was gone. They found his truck abandoned a few miles away, but he was nowhere to be seen. The scariest part, he was never caught. Some nights, when I'm walking to my car, I still get that feeling, that prickling sensation on the back of my neck, like he is there, still watching me, waiting for me. Stay safe out there. Thanks for your time and watching. If you like the story, please like and subscribe.